Good morning, everyone. We're going to give it a couple seconds and then we're going to get underway as people join us this morning. Thank you for joining us for this conversation.
Well, why don't we go ahead and get started? Good morning. My name is Ellie Harmon, and I am the current board chair of Citizens for Modern Transit. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our Talking Transit event on the state of transit in St. Louis 2026. Shout out to my fellow CMT board members who have joined us today, and a very special thanks to our platinum sponsors this morning: AARP in St. Louis, By State Development, HNTB, and the Clair County Transit District. Thank you. There is so much happening with transit in the region, including the official opening of a 5.2-mile Metrolink extension this year. In addition to that exciting news, we of course are thrilled to bring you this morning's annual conversation to start the year. And I am very much looking forward to hearing from our expert panel. I'm now going to turn it over to the fabulous Kim Sella, our Citizens for Modern Transit CEO, to begin our conversation this morning. Kim?
Thank you, Ellie, and thank you everyone for joining us this morning for this really important conversation. Big things are happening in the region with transit this year, and Ellie just touched on one of them. We are also seeing challenges for transit, including the recent FY27 budget recommendation that came out this week from Governor Kehoe, which includes a catastrophic loss for Missouri Transit. So after reducing state transit assistance last year by 42%, the governor is now proposing a cut of an additional $5 million from general revenue, leaving just $1.7 million to be split among 30 transit providers across the state for operating assistance. So as we move forward and as we have this really important conversation today, we're going to need everyone's help on transit assistance, whether you ride it or not. So please keep that in the back of your mind as we have this important conversation this morning. So today we're going to hear from local transit leaders on various projects currently underway on both sides of the river, including the light rail expansion to MidAmerica St. Louis Airport and the latest with the St. Louis Green Line, which is in the Northside-Southside corridor. The funding landscape, operating plans for Metro Transit, the Clair County Transit District, and Madison County Transit are all going to be on the table for discussion this morning. So please make sure if you have any questions that you place them in the Q&A or the chat box, and we will get to them as quickly as possible after our initial comments from each of our speakers. So let's welcome our panel today, including Jon Schaller, the Senior Project Manager and Deputy Construction Manager with Gonzalez Companies, and the project manager for the Illinois Light Rail Expansion Project. Taulby Roach, President and CEO of By State Development. Ken Sharkey, Managing Director of the Clair County Transit District. Ronald Forrest, Chief Operating Officer for Metro Transit, and S.J. Morrison, the Managing Director for Madison County Transit. So if we were in person, I would ask for a round of applause, but unfortunately, here we are again on Zoom. So a quiet golf clap round of applause for all of our speakers who are joining us today. And we really do look forward to this very important conversation because, as I just said, whether you ride transit or not, it's a critical component of this region's transportation system, and these updates are going to matter to everyone. So there's a lot to be excited about, and here's an opportunity to get your questions answered. So let's jump right in with Jon Schaller and Ken Sharkey on the light rail expansion project about to begin testing to MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. Just a little bit of trivia. This is the first large-scale expansion outside of the infill station at Cortex in 20 years. This August will mark the 20th anniversary of the Cross County extension. So we are excited to hear about this project, the implications for the community and the region. So welcome, Jon and Ken. Ken, are you going to start? You're on mute.
Yes, thank you, Kim. Thank you, Ellie, for that introduction as well. Construction is about complete on the MidAmerica St. Louis Airport Extension project in St. Clair County. Metro testing of the new alignment is set to begin in March with an estimated opening this summer. The project will include, it'll extend the Metrolink light rail system 5.2 miles from the existing Shiloh Scott Transit Center in Shiloh to MidAmerica Airport, St. Louis Airport in Mascoutah. It features a new Metrolink station directly across from passenger terminal and parking lot on Airport Boulevard. It also includes a 2.4-mile access roadway that extends Reeder Road to Airport Boulevard, offering a secondary entryway system into the airport. It also includes a 1/3 of a mile extension of Reeder Road from Wary Road to Scott Air Force Base's Cardinal Creek Gate. The project also includes a 5-mile extension of the Metro Bike Link system. The new trail segment will run parallel to the alignment from the existing bike path from Fairview Heights Metro Station to MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. The Metro Bike Link Trail will be 19.5 miles in length and serves as the spine of a more than a 39 miles of interconnecting paved trails and bike paths in St. Clair County. The trail connects to 6 Metro transit centers in 4 different communities, offering seamless integration of biking and transit use via the Metrolink, Metrobus, and microtransit options like the SCC TD Flyer. This will be one of the only systems in the country that connects 2 major airports, with the Metrolink running from St. Louis Lambert International Airport to MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. The project will increase economic development opportunities in St. Clair County. In addition to connecting Scott Air Force Base and MidAmerica St. Louis Airport, which are partnering entities collectively serving as one of the bi-state's largest economic engines, the project will also include a newly constructed frontage road, better access to Scott Air Force Base Cardinal Creek Gate, an extension of our ever-evolving trail system, and more options for airport passengers. The MidAmerica St. Louis Airport Metrolink Extension project is funded in large part by a $127 million Rebuild Illinois grant received from the Illinois State Legislature and Governor J.B. Pritzker. This multi-model project was designed, bid, and constructed as part of 6 different packages. There is a high-level participation by disadvantaged business enterprises, and an exceptionally large majority of the contracts were awarded locally, helping to pump money committed for this project back into the local economy. More specifically, the facilities and tree clearing contracts were 100% local contractors. Between general contractors and subcontractors, we're talking about up to 25 contracting firms. The only non-local contractor, however, is a systems contractor. That contractor is a national firm. However, they are using half a dozen or so local contracts to do the work they are qualified to do. The project will increase economic development opportunities in St. Clair County, and this will be the 39th station in the Metrolink system and terminus of St. Clair County. And then SJ has a little power slide for some visuals of the work that's been going on recently and going forward.
You mean Jon?
Jon Schaller does, I'm sorry.
Jon, we're going to turn it over to you for those visuals.
Okay, are you seeing my screen right now?
We are. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. So as we all know, this is the extension of the Metrolink from the Shiloh Scott Station to MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. We've been involved with this for going on the last 5 to 6 years as far as design and construction. A little bit of a reiteration of what Ken has mentioned, 5.2-mile extension of Metrolink, the new passenger station at MidAmerica Airport, 5-mile extension of the parallel bike trail adjacent to the Metrolink, the Reeder Road extension to Cardinal Creek Gate, and then the new access roadway from that Reeder Road extension tying into Airport Boulevard at MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. A quick overview of the project alignment. As I mentioned, Shiloh Scott to MidAmerica Airport. The green and dashed blue lines show the Metrolink and the adjacent bike trail. The orange segment up here in the middle shows the Reeder Road extension that ties to the new interchange at I-64 and Reeder Road. Can't quite see it on here. There's a purple line along the bottom edge here that is the new access roadway from Reeder Road over to Airport Boulevard. And the brown line was the originally designed Metrolink alignment back in 1999. Just touching back on the project schedule here, major construction started in spring of 2023. Construction activities are set to be completed early here in 2026. Revenue service hopefully will begin in the summer of 2026. Ken had mentioned there were 6 construction contracts on the project. Here's an overview of our current status. The tree removal and water crossing facilities, double track and single track packages, and our bike trail paving packages have been completed. Access roadway is currently under construction, as well as systems, which is under construction and nearing completion. I'm going to run through our several construction photos here just to give you all an overview. This image is facing south from Cybert Road towards the Shiloh Scott Station in the area of the Scott Pocket Tracks. You can see this is the double track alignment section here with the third track in the middle for switchovers. And in the top of the photo here, you see the existing Shiloh Scott Station. And then along the left side here of the Metrolink is the bike trail pavement. Systems contractors are currently doing work here, completing all the overhead catenary wire pulling, connections, signals and communications, cabling and such. Here's a view of the bike trail and the Metrolink bridges over Cybert Road. Cybert Road is the main entryway into Scott Air Force Base. Looking to the north here, you see our double track section, 2 bridges for the Metrolink train itself, and the blue bridge here for our bike trail. Looking back to the west, this is what we call our Reeder Road interlocking. This is the transition point between our double track section to our single track section. Due to constraints at the end of the MidAmerica St. Louis Airport runway and I-64, we tapered down and narrowed down our footprint over the project to fit in a single track section. This photo was taken from the Reeder Road Bridge, the Reeder Road extension, looking back towards the interlocking between single track and double track. One of the things I like about this project right in this location here is how we get the separation away from the Metrolink, a little bit of relief here with the bike trail coming and tying in at grade to the Reeder Road. View of the Reeder Road Bridge. In the background here, you can see I-64 and the interchange ramps. As Ken had mentioned, this will tie in to the Cardinal Creek Gate at Scott Air Force Base. See our MSE walls and the single track alignment underneath the Reeder Road. This image shows the new access roadway. Currently, we have the aggregate base course in place, as well as slip-formed concrete curb and gutter. When the weather warms back up, we will continue with asphalt pavement, striping, and signing prior to opening the roadway. This location, the bike trail then leaves running parallel or directly adjacent to the Metrolink and will then run on the shoulder of the access roadway. The facilities packages constructed the embankment for the projects, as well as the bridges for the Metrolink and also for the bike trail. The access roadway packages include our bridges here over Silver Creek and also the bridges over Little Silver Creek. As you can see here, just to backtrack one picture here, the bridge over Silver Creek is under construction still. We finished our concrete deck pour on that the week before Christmas, or whether it improved such that it was warm enough to pour concrete and allow for a 7-day curing period afterwards. The Little Silver Creek Bridge has been completed. You can see here the bike railing along the left-hand side of the bridge, as well as our parapets. The only thing remaining here would be our new pavement tying into it and the guardrail. Running alongside to the left here between I-64 is our single-track Metrolink alignment. Aerial view here of our connection of our new access roadway tying into Airport Boulevard at MidAmerica Airport. Originally, there was a curved dead end at this roadway that ended at one of the businesses at MidAmerica Airport. We had constructed this new intersection to provide better access to that business and allow for Airport Boulevard to be extended out to Reeder Road. Just another image of that intersection. And then the tie into MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. A nice image here showing the proximity of the project to the runways and such. What these images don't show is that same week prior to Christmas when we had the warm weather, we were also able to go out and complete the asphalt paving in this area. Completing the paving in this area was a big step due to the fact that we had temporary access to that business, and we wanted to get the roadway opened during the winter months so they would have a hard road surface to drive on. Just an image looking back to the west on a single track alignment and the platform at MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. You here see our circle driveway, passenger drop-off area, the platform, canopy, and the plaza area. Just another aerial overshot of the platform and station. The plaza area here, one of the final things that was completed was the installation of the Metrolink facility ID sign that kind of told us that the project is substantially complete and kind of identifies to everyone where they're at on the location. So as we talked about, the project will be completed here in the summer of 2026. So that is the end of my slides.
Thank you, Jon, and thank you, Ken, for that update on what will be a very exciting time this summer to actually see riders and passengers, employees of MidAmerica St. Louis Airport, visitors being able to utilize Metrolink as part of their connections to the airport, as well as jobs and any economic development that comes out of this project. So we're very excited to see that happening. So now let's pivot to Bi-State's President and CEO Taulby Roach, because let's talk about the future on the Missouri side of the river with regards to the Northside-Southside corridor. So Taulby, we're hoping you can provide us an update today on the Green Line Bus Rapid Transit project on the Missouri side of the river.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Kim. How exciting. What a great presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Jon and Ken. I mean, what great partners. And really what's interesting about a project like that, and I think St. Clair County should be commended in particular, is looking to the future way, way in advance with all of that infrastructure surrounding Metrolink so that it incorporates with bike trails, airports, Reeder Road, et cetera. It's an infrastructure project, and what a wonderful one. So my compliments, gentlemen. That project is going great. But I have been asked to concentrate on what we're talking about on the future for Missouri. And Travis, if you could move on to the next slide, please. And of course, what we're talking about is the pivot in the green line from what was originally envisioned, a Metrolink alignment on Jefferson Avenue, to looking at what's possible for a BRT line. And let me just be very honest with you, and we can go to the next slide, please. What my job is to do is to create projects that not only fit in the community, but also compete for those very important dollars, whether they be state, federal, et cetera, so that we can compete to expand our system. And quite frankly, we had a really great Metrolink alignment in this quarter that I'd be happy to do, but wasn't very affordable. We just weren't able to make the numbers work. So what we are looking at is an alternative, and the Spencer administration has asked us to look at that. And we're looking at what is a concept that has been very successful all across the country, and that is bus rapid transit. So I threw a couple of examples of bus rapid transit that is happening across the country. This pivot is actually happening all across the country and has happened in other comparable areas, one of which is in St. Paul, Minnesota. A very, very successful BRT project, 10 miles, very comparable, much better cost coefficient. And we're able to talk about a project that really fits within the community, is able to maybe even go a little further, and then, of course, is affordable. So that's one example I wanted to bring up. Next slide, please. The next is a little more costly, but a very good example of how infrastructure has worked in different areas is the Van Nuys, California BRT. And you can see one of the reasons why I wanted to look at this is this actually contemplates catenaries and dedicated lanes. We're not talking about catenaries in this case. Much more likely we would do a hybrid type system. But it gives you an idea of what are all the possibilities for a BRT line and incorporating within our community. So let's look at a rendering. Let's go to the next slide, please. So this is just an example of maybe how BRT could look on Jefferson Avenue. Really, really successful use of a very, very wide boulevard, as you know, or as many of you know. Jefferson Avenue is a very generous alignment. There's almost 6 lanes of traffic. It's way over-engineered. So we have a great possibility towards advancing a project like this. Let's go to the next slide. And what's really interesting within those existing assets is our capability of using them so that they can be very effective. So this is an aerial shot, of course, of a BRT line. I believe that's Chippewa and Jefferson Avenue. And where you can see, not only we're talking about the asset of the BRT line, but also are there trees that we could look at? How do we incorporate into the community? How do we enhance parking, make things work better for the retail community around, and take this opportunity and really kind of rethink the fabric of the neighborhoods that a project like this touches. So let's talk about that alignment really quickly. Next slide. So the administration's really asked us to look at two different primary alignments, not that there couldn't be variations within there. One is to do a BRT on the existing alignment. So exactly as we envisioned in a Metrolink alignment, but just doing BRT. 5.6 miles, great station population running all along Jefferson Avenue, all the way from all the way up to the north and where we're seeing development in redeveloping North St. Louis, all the way down to Chippewa to the south. And then the alternative alignment, we can go to the next slide. So obviously one thing about BRT is it's cheaper. So we can look at extending some of these opportunities. And in particular, we need to be sure that it integrates properly with the red and blue lines. So the administration has asked us to look at incorporating into the existing station down at Civic Center, which would be a good opportunity to transfer very easily from a green line over to the red and blue. So we are looking at this alternative. Additionally, as you can see, this is 9.8 miles because we have an opportunity here to move a little further. And in particular in the South, I would love to see the opportunity to move further into some neighborhoods where we see very high modal splits down in the Dutchtown area, et cetera. Maybe even a park and ride as you get close to the highway. And we can go to the next slide. There we go. So let's talk about our next steps. Very good. So immediate action. So we need to define what the project is. So we're having all kinds of meetings with the public right now, different neighborhood meetings, incorporating input. This is a vital, vital piece to how we develop light rail. One really interesting thing is that Ken talked very eloquently about how in a parallel project in St. Clair County, you have the bike trail. That's really a great asset in St. Clair County that is being advanced. That idea came from the public process. Why do I know that? Because I was there for it. It was really, really interesting how when you have a very rigorous public process and you talk to the neighborhoods about what they want to see, what are the things that they want incorporated into a project like this? This is a public asset. So we're going to be doing that literally in project definition, talking with our partners at East West Gateway, talking with our electeds, because transit works when there's a grassroots effort and everybody is essentially pushing the train in the same direction. So I always want to be sure that we're doing that. That's where we're headed. We do have some efficiencies in the existing project, and that is we can transfer some of that NEPA work, so the environmental protection review of the existing Metrolink proposal for Green Line, and so that will be a very big advantage to us. So I know I move very quickly. Kim has a very a wide reach, and she'll hook me if I talk too long. So with that, I'm going to pivot to, of course, Ron Forrest, who's my Chief Operating Officer. Ron, can you take the ball for a little bit?
Yep, sure can, Taulby. Thanks. So I'd like to start by saying that, over the past 8 months that I've been here, we've made some meaningful progress at Metro Transit, and I'm very proud of the momentum that we're building over here. From the very beginning, my leadership team and we've been out on the system, as you all know. We've been riding alongside our customers. We've been speaking directly with hundreds of riders about their day-to-day experiences. We've also established quarterly town halls to hear directly from our frontline workforce. We continue to maintain a regular presence at our facility. We're engaging with employees across the agency, and those conversations matter. And as a result, we've not only gotten to know our customers and employees better, we've learned firsthand what works well, and just as importantly, what isn't. And we're acting on that feedback by implementing measures to address the challenges that have been raised. Now, at the same time, we're making significant progress on capital projects. That was a concern a while back, and that's across the system. Several of these projects will allow us to return to full use of our light rail alignment. And that's something that we haven't been able to do for years, right? We'll be able to go back to double tracking and pivot away from single tracking during the majority of the day. We're also preparing to open MidAmerica, as you all have heard, light rail extension this summer. That's a major milestone for the region. Very happy to see that making progress. Now, looking ahead, we're planning substantial improvements to our bus service as part of our June 2026 service change. We're also preparing to receive 55 new light rail vehicles in 2027. That work is already underway with focused planning. We're identifying critical path items and early action to keep us on track. As many of you know, the rail vehicle project had a rocky start, but we brought the team together. All of our partners are involved and now meeting on a bi-weekly basis. I'm a part of those meetings. Information is being shared in a single repository. Progress is being tracked transparently and collaboratively. And our vendor Siemens is providing a monthly progress report that captures vehicle production, milestone achievements, communication between groups, engineering changes, waivers, and a host of other items that we find are very important. And finally, we've reimagined our recruiting and hiring strategy, and we're beginning to see real results from those changes. And for instance, this week we just started a class of 29 Metro bus operators, and that's more students than at any time in recent history. So we're very satisfied with the work that's going on. We're partnering with our HR team. They're doing a good job supporting us on that. And then finally, we're doing much more across the agency. But, I wanted to highlight these things and that reflect the direction that we're heading. We're listening, we're investing, we're improving, we're delivering for our customers, our employees, and community.
Thank you. Thank you, Taulby and Ron, for the update on Bi-State Metro Transit, the future of transit on the Missouri side. And Ron, for riders, really the operational report where we are. And I'm sure we'll have additional questions as we move through the conversation this morning. But I think it's really important for people to know where we are right now today and where we'll be in 6 months too. So now let's turn one more time to S.J. Morrison, the Managing Director for Madison County Transit, to hear all about what's underway in Madison County and the connection to St. Clair County and Metro Transit. So welcome, S.J. We're happy to have you join us this morning.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you to CMT for including us. And by the way, thank you also for finding such young-looking pictures of all of your panelists. I think when my picture was taken, I didn't need these, which I am going to be using. Ken, was that your high school picture up there? Okay, I'm done.
SJ, we don't talk about that. We just let people think those are our headshots from yesterday. So keep.
Very good. Okay, Travis, let's get started here. As I think folks know, Madison County Transit is in Madison County, Illinois. We have 4 primary services. Obviously, our fixed route, the green buses that you see driving around, our runabout paratransit service for elderly and disabled. We also operate the Ride Finders Carpool Vanpool program for the St. Louis region and the 138 miles in the MCT trail system. Okay. All right. So just want to give a quick update on microtransit. As I reported last year, we have launched a series of new microtransit zones, 3 of them actually. Our zone in Collinsville is the most successful. We're averaging about 86 passengers a day. Now that is an all day and into the evening microtransit zone, utilizing our small coach on chassis style vehicles. But again, just like some of the other ride hailing services, or unlike some of the ride hailing services that you see, it's an ADA accessible, video surveilled vehicle driven by a drug tested, background checked ACT driver, which we're proud of. In 2025, we also launched 2 more zones, a Bethalto Cottage Hill zone and an evening only zone in Edwardsville. And again, kind of like St. Clair County Transit, we are trying to use microtransit to solve problems for us, to help fill gaps in service and grow ridership in areas where we think there is greater potential. Okay, Travis. Just a couple of notes regarding what we are trying to do to serve the most vulnerable among our population. As Bi-State and St. Clair County Transit also does, and by the way, I want to give them credit for turning us on to this idea. They have partnerships with Chestnut Health Systems to provide trained social workers that ride Metrolink trains, ride the buses, and spend time at stations and engage meaningfully with individuals who are in crisis to help them get connected to services. And so we have recently just started this in 2025, this partnership with Chestnut, and I can't say enough about it. I am so happy about this partnership. Our social workers, and there's 2 of them, engaged 750 individuals. Well, 750 engagements. There are some repeat individuals in there. But there are some tremendous success stories. And I know that Ken and Taulby could also tell those success stories regarding their experiences. Also in November, we launched a new service where we're utilizing on-duty extra board drivers to take individuals who are unhoused to overnight warming locations. We know that there are folks who are trying to make their way to warming locations during episodes of extreme cold. or it's 20 degrees or below. And we want to help them get there. And so we are offering those rides for free, again, on an emergency basis. And so far, although there hasn't been too many nights when these warming locations have activated, we have taken a total of 25 folks, which makes for a much more comfortable way to get to those locations. All right, Travis. Just want to talk about a few facilities that we are going to be hopefully beginning construction on in 2026. Our new Logistics Valley bus station, which is paid for with Rebuild Illinois funds. But by the way, all of these projects they're going to talk about are Rebuild Illinois funds. MCT was fortunate to receive about $28 million in rebuild, and this accounts for about $11 million in those projects. This Logistics Valley station is here in the 111, 255, 270 zone, where there are a series of warehouses. And we're going to be building a station to not only accommodate those workers, but accommodate other cross-county travel throughout Madison County. It is going to be home to a climate-controlled passenger waiting area with restrooms, but also a law enforcement substation. And we're hoping to also build a daycare facility at the station so that people can drop their children off at the facility at a safe and secure area and then get on a shuttle and get to work. We are renovating some of our buildings here at the MCT base of operations for our operations support team and creating a new training center here. We are building a new park and ride lot in the Horseshoe Lake Road 255 area of Collinsville. And for some of you that know, we have long used the Gateway Convention Center parking lot. So this is going to save us a lot of time. It's also adjacent to our MCT Schoolhouse Trail. So it will double as a park and ride lot for our trails. And then finally, we're constructing a new Alton driver relief facility at our Alton bus station. And this is one of those things where we took a look at our costs, our operations, our employees, and said, if we put a brake facility at our Alton bus station, this will literally save us 40 to 50 hours a week of time. And so utilizing Rebuild Illinois funds, we're taking advantage of those funds to help create efficiencies for our operations and for our team. And we're really excited about that. Okay, next. Just a quick word about our bike trail system. Obviously, we brag about this every chance we get. We've got some new projects going on. The MCT Schoolhouse Trail, we're building a bridge over Illinois 111 at Horseshoe Lake Road, constructing a brand new trail on an old alignment of the old Pennsylvania Railroad in Collinsville, which will connect our Goshen Trail to the community of Collinsville and to the Collinwood neighborhood. And what we found is that our trails are now, and some of them are 25 to 30 years old, and so they need reconstruction. And so we're in the process of developing a 2-year plan to reconstruct our oldest trails, starting with our Nature Trail and Confluence Trail, and we've begun those reconstructions, which include rehabilitations of bridges and structures. And as you might imagine, that's not cheap. We're also looking at expanding our trail system and extending the tentacles of our system to more communities in Madison County, including Bethalto, as well as Troy. As you can see on this little map here, we're trying to make this connection from the Goshen Trail over to the city of Troy. And then finally, we are deploying a new round of art on the MCT trails in 2026 that I'm very excited about as well. All right, next. Bus service wise, this year we're unfortunately going to take a hard look at our express service to downtown St. Louis. We are just not seeing a return in ridership on our express service to downtown St. Louis. When I first started here 22 years ago, we were carrying something like 3,000 people a day on our express trips into downtown St. Louis. And after COVID and after some of the other changes that have occurred downtown, we are just not seeing that ridership. So we are looking at where we can deploy those resources more effectively, because we have seen a return of ridership on many of our other routes. So we're trying to determine where that where we can best do that. So more to come on that. We're going to be deploying a new Troy Maryville microtransit zone in the summer of this year. I'm happy to say that we recently reduced our fares to St. Clair County. So our fares to the Emerson Park Metrolink station on the 5 and the 18, for years it has been $3, and we slashed that down to $1. So anytime you get on an MCT bus and ride in Illinois, whether you're staying in Madison County or not, it's only $1. And then finally, we're looking at cross-county service, where we can provide better service between communities in Madison County. So those are our areas that we're going to be focusing on this year.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I'm sorry, just one last note here is just like everybody else, we are working on making sure that we continue to have a safe and secure system. And so that means, many of our bus stations today don't have video surveillance. And so we are installing a comprehensive video surveillance system, as well as an access control system that is integrated with all of our facilities. We are working with third-party consultants on trying to determine where the gaps are in our safety and security, and going to be improving safety and security on the trails as well. We have purchased some, you can see an image here, a mobile surveillance trailer that will be deployed through different parts of the system, as well as some new flashing beacons at 7 different MCT trails crossing locations to create a more safer crossing situation on the trails. Okay. And then lastly, just to mention the Ride Finders program, and we continue to partner with hundreds of employers throughout the St. Louis region to try and get people to consider carpooling and vanpooling. With so many folks working from home, this is a challenge. And so, but we are working on creating some new ways, new technology, and some new programs to help serve, some of the low-income communities in our region, as well as making vanpooling easier through a seat booking platform on a mobile app. So those are some exciting initiatives that we are trying to deploy in the coming year. And I think that's it.
Great. Thank you, SJ, for that update and the exciting things happening in Madison County as well. So this is my favorite part of these. Let's jump into some question and answers. I know that there's a lot of questions out there about the future of transit, Metrolink extension, all of that good stuff. So I know we've had several questions on the MidAmerica Airport extension. What are we looking at? What should the public expect to see as we get closer to opening day for the extension? And there was one question, Ken, will there be additional security officers deployed as the expansion continues to happen in Illinois?
So I think what the public may see when Metro starts doing their safety testing, they'll actually be running trains on the alignment. And some people that are traveling along I-64 and 158, might be thinking, well, the train service is up and running, which it really won't be, because Metro has up to about 4 months. We have an agreement with them to safety test the alignment to make sure it meets all their standards before they actually accept the project from St. Clair County. So you might see some trains out there, but there won't be revenue service out there yet. So okay. That's one thing. And then as far as the security goes, in the last year, St. Clair County has made investments with and agreements with 4 different metro or local municipal government police departments. So we pay the city of Belleville Police Department, Fairview Heights, Swansea, and Shiloh. So they have duty officers that actually go to the Metrolink lots and provide additional security. So I do think you'll also see some additional security once we open up the revenue service for MidAmerica Airport, St. Louis.
Perfect. Thank you, Ken. So let's talk about funding. From a funding perspective, I know we're dealing with a tale of two states here. Missouri and Illinois are very, very different when it comes to investment in public transit, in addition to what's happening at the local level in each of your areas. So what is your most significant challenge or opportunity right now when it comes to public transit funding for each of you? And is it capital or operating that is the biggest opportunity or challenge for you?
Okay, so
Taulby, you want to jump in?
I'll jump in. The answer to that is yes.
Yes.
It is both, because quite frankly, we need to in the in pursuit of capital dollars, what we seek to do is take the small local match, anywhere from 20 to 50%, and then leverage that to get other money that is outside of the area. Of course, we send that to Washington, D.C. and income tax, sales tax, et cetera, or whether it's at a state in the case of Illinois. And we want to advance projects that can garner that really important funding, right? And Ken has talked a little bit about that. So did SJ with the Rebuild Illinois Fund. In Illinois, you have really significant investments coming into the greater St. Louis area, most specifically in Illinois. However, we always have to keep an eye on, our operating challenges. And what is very, very important is that we are constantly vigilant at being sure that our annual growth rate in operating is reasonable and within the confines of where tax revenue is growing or not growing. And so we've been successful at that over the past 7 years, and our annual average growth rate is 1.5%. We really need to keep at that in order to be sure that we are in line with where the tax revenue growth is from an operating standpoint. And that means to have really rigorous partnerships with our county partners in St. Louis County, City of St. Louis, St. Clair County, to be sure that we're constantly looking at what are the opportunities for expansion, but also how are we controlling cost. So I know kind of a complicated answer, but it is a complicated issue, Kim.
Great. Thank you. Ken and SJ, would you like to weigh in on opportunities you see in Illinois with funding or challenges you're facing right now?
Sure, I'll start, Kim. I mean, I to your point, I can't say enough about the Illinois General Assembly and Governor Pritzker for their commitment to funding transit in the state of Illinois. As many of you know, this year the Illinois General Assembly passed a new transit bill, which increased our funding formula, from 65% to 80%, which allows us to not only provide service for our residents that is commensurate with demand, but also allows us to take a chance on a new service like a microtransit. And so I do think there are opportunities for us to continue to meet the needs, but also dip our toe in the waters of some of these innovative new services. Now, from a concern standpoint, I am a little bit concerned about funding at the federal level. We have heard some rumors through APTA that there could be some challenges with FTA, formula funds as it relates to capital, which we use for buying vehicles. And so that is an area where I have a little bit of concern, although I've chatted with our, congressional delegation, and they tell me that nothing is going to come from those rumors. And so I am cautiously optimistic.
Great. Thank you. Ken, did you want to add anything?
Well, the St. Clair County Transit District doesn't actually operate service, so we basically contract for service. And, I piggyback on what SJ says. The Illinois legislature and Governor Pritzker has been very, very good to our region and to the state of Illinois as far as transit goes. And along with that comes a tremendous responsibility as being stewards of that public money. So we want to be very prudent in how we spend that money, taxpayer money. And we really look for other opportunities to maybe, improve our services and to add services. So just this past month, we did sign a contract with Benesh, a national company, to overlook, we had a Transit Vision 2020. They're going to take a look at our 14 fixed routes that we contract with Metro Bus. We're going to take a look at ATS, which operates our paratransit service in St. Clair County. And they also operate the SCCTD Flyer microtransit. So we're going to look at those assets and the way that service is there. And we're pretty much just want to make sure we don't miss any opportunities to serve people in our community with this additional funding that's come into the area. So really, it's just we try to not waste money. We try to invest money where we can increase or maintain ridership. And that's kind of where we're at.
Great, thank you. So we have one state going the right way and one state going the wrong way, but we will continue to have those conversations as we move forward. So let's talk a little bit about operations. Ron, I think you're up. We got some questions about operations. So can you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned the June 26 bus changes coming. Is that an increase in frequency and service now that you have a full workforce? What can riders expect coming June 2026? And then I have a follow-up question after that.
So we're increasing our workforce. And of course, we do want to transition to a service that's more frequent, right? We want to make sure that we're capturing those choice riders. And that's the only way that we're going to transition into something that's more useful for not only our transit-dependent riders, for those who have those options. However, before we do any service increase, we want to make sure that our service, the service that we're currently committed to, is we're providing that in a more reliable way, right? So daily, we complete approximately 98% of our scheduled trips, which, to most people, that seems like a good number. But the 2% of trips that we miss on average impacts approximately 1,800 of our riders per day. So we got to do a better job at that, right? My team and I, we're committed to increasing their percentage of completed trips to about 99.5%, even if we have to do that incrementally. That's our goal. Now, the challenges, of course, to do service increases and to significantly increase reliability are like we've been saying: budget constraints, shortage in workforce, not just operators, but also mechanics that work on the buses. It's really challenging to find qualified candidates for our maintenance programs. Now, we are working on solutions. We want to work within our existing budget to get more out of it. We've made a complete transition to hiring part-time operators, for instance. So within a budget created for a total of 650 full-time operators, we think we can hire approximately 675 operators using a mix of full-time and part-time. Now, again, using part-time operators, that gives us the flexibility that we need to create assignments that place our resources where the need is the most, right? Whereas our collective bargaining agreement is very, very prescriptive in regard to the creation of schedules for full-time operators. Is not that way for part-time operators. So we have the flexibility to move those schedules around as necessary, and we're going to exercise that flexibility. Now, for our maintenance challenges, we're developing apprenticeship programs. I talk about this all the time. Those programs will give us the ability to go out and recruit candidates as young as 18 years old. Currently, candidates have to have an unrestricted commercial driver's license, which requires them to be 20 years old to get. But our program will allow us to hire candidates as young as 18 with restricted licenses, right? Bring them into an apprentice level. Now, those employees will have to operate buses in either Missouri or Illinois. But just to summarize, our first goal is to increase reliability. We want to make sure that our customers can depend on the level of service that we are currently committed to, right? And then once we've achieved that, we're going to look to use those resources that can sustain increased frequency.
Okay, thank you. So to piggyback off the operations questions, there's also a question of fare. So we're hearing, there's a lot of conversation about a new fare program for bi-state rolling out expected this summer. So what does that look like, Ron, and how does that tie into the new gating system on Metrolink? We were told 11 of the 39 stations are completed this time. So if you can give us an update from an operational perspective on the new fare program and the gating system, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so my colleague, well, two of my colleagues, Kevin Scott and Tom Curran, they're actually overseeing both of those programs. The secure platform project that's moving along according to schedule, and that should be completed at the sometime at the end of this month or early next month. Now the ticket vending machine, that infrastructure is going to start to arrive and is going to start to be integrated into our fare system, and it will allow passengers, seamless transfer throughout our system using mobile apps, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I will maybe Taulby want to jump in here. We are having some challenges with that, but we're expecting for after the SPP is done to start integrating that, and ideally, it will be a seamless transfer from mode to mode, and also we need to work on how we integrate that fare box and that fare system with Madison County Transit.
Yeah, Ron is right. I'm just going to jump in really quickly. So with a new fare media system, yes, SPP seems like a vast and huge project, but also at the same time, parallel project, completely new fare system. So remember, I need to get 125 TVM, ticket vending machines. These are as complicated as, a cash machine you see out there. They're very complex. And we have some of them in. We're doing some beta testing on them right now, so that's really, really good. We have had some lags in availability of circuit boards and so on that has caused us some angst, I will be honest with you, but we're looking at having that project completely integrated within the spring of this year. So I think June will be the target date. It's looking okay. But no matter what, in a system of this vast, we're going to ask for some patience with implementing something that's new. And no matter what, the fundamental concept is that we need to control our product. We need to be sure that we control our product so the public is interested in purchasing that product, that it is safe, clean, and effective, and that it's fair. That's really the idea.
Great. Thank you very much for that update. So, Taulby, this one goes to you. You talked a little bit about the bus rapid transit study underway, the alternative analysis, where we are, but what is the status of the potential funding source through the city economic tax, which, if you could clarify for everyone, would be required for this project to move forward, as well as a federal funding award, correct?
That is right. It is, as very typical. We have layered funding components in almost every single capital project that we have. And the overall really start to looking at North-South Metrolink was a tax that was passed by the citizens of the city of St. Louis to put money aside. It's known as an Eco-Devo tax. So not only was there expansion of transit in there, but there was other elements that was in that same tax. But with that tax, that is essentially the prime of our pump, of our local match to go for other money. And it is true that the specific ordinance does mention Metrolink and North-South specifically. Okay, so we need to be sure that we are wading our way through this as we pivot to BRT. And we just have to be sure that we are soliciting the public's opinion about this public project, and be sure that we are being vigilant about how those monies are expended properly on these different options. It's not like we didn't look at Metrolink. We certainly did. We just the tax revenue was not there to justify that kind of a project. But we can pivot to a really, really successful kind of alternative that I think could be more cost effective. And we do need to wade our way through that. And we're doing that right now with the Spencer administration and obviously with the aldermen and women of the city of St. Louis. Had many meetings about it and will continue to do so.
Okay, great. And when do you foresee the estimated wrap of the current study underway answers on whether BRT is in fact feasible in that corridor?
I think we need a good 6 to 10 months associated with this to really properly look at the two alternatives. In particular, it would be much easier just to go on the existing alignment and say this is it. That would obviously be much quicker. But there's other ideas that I think are really key to gaining constituency. Brooke, one of the problems that I have is a good problem. I have people who want more transit. In particular, that Dutchtown neighborhood that I referenced to the south, the city of St. Louis, they very much want more transit service. We weren't able to get there under the Metrolinx scenario. So BRT provides us with some great opportunities to look at that. It does take a little bit of time. Proper public outreach does take some time.
Thank you very much for that update, Taulby. So quick, I know we're running short on time. We have a few other questions we do want to get to this morning. Quick clarification, Ron, you mentioned the exciting news about the new LRV vehicles arriving in St. Louis in 2027. So can you clarify, is that 55 vehicles, and does Metro expect to have all of them in-house by the end of 2027?
No, no, no. They'll start arriving in 2027. Now the current schedule of delivery is 2 per month, and then we'll see if we can increase that delivery schedule. But a lot of that is going to be dependent upon our storage capacity at the Metrolink yards. But yeah, they'll start arriving in 2027 at 2 per month. They'll be going through their static and dynamic testing and commissioning processes. And at the same time, we'll be getting rid of older vehicles, creating additional capacity for the rest of the vehicles to come.
Thank you for that. What can residents, local businesses, local organizations do to support public transit in the St. Louis region? I think that this is a critical question as we continue to talk about lagging ridership, building back choice riders, as Ron referenced. So what can residents do, local businesses, organizations in this region in both Missouri and Illinois to help support public transit?
Well, I'll grab that ride. We want you on our system. Our system is safe. It's clean. Not only is Metro Link a successful system, our Metro bus system extremely successful. The other is advocate, right? Advocacy with, for instance, look, I am in every day with Board of Aldermen, county councils, St. Clair County. All of those talking about what are we doing with these investments. And as electeds, and I'm going to speak for them, but they want to be sure that they're getting the bang for their buck, that they're getting what they're paying for. And so when we can have those parallel advocacies, whether it's paratransit rides or whether it's when we've had a lot of success in that right high need area where we're all working together to increase essentially our public service. And when those council people and aldermen and alderwomen and hear from the public, really makes a difference.
Great.
I'd
Anyone
like to
else
jump
want to
in.
weigh in? Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to say, in addition to riding it and showing up and advocating at public meetings, businesses should be promoting the use of public transit, right? Offer discounts at your businesses for those who use transit to get there, all right?
Perfect. Anyone else want to weigh in? Okay, so I'm going to answer. SJ, are you jumping in?
I was just going to echo what Taulby said, and that is use the service, because when you use it, you see the things that Taulby mentioned, that it is safe and that it is clean and that it is affordable and efficient and operated by, these trained, highly motivated ambassadors. And so, yes, I think that, and then advocate, obviously, advocate to your legislators, let them know that this is something that makes a region even better. And so we need transit, to continue to progress.
Thanks, SJ. And I would argue, tell your stories, not just at the local, state, but also at the federal level. So we need to continue to make sure that the stories are being told from riders' perspectives, from employers, to Ron's point. Job access is a critical component of what we're seeing with transit ridership. So we need to continue to tell the stories at the local, state, and federal level. Reach out to your governor, make sure he knows who you are and what your name is. They need to know how important public transit is. So, last question for this morning. What is your key takeaway from each of you to our audience, on the opportunities you see for public transit in the region? And Jon, let's start with you. What are the opportunities around the MidAmerica Airport extension as the project manager that you see?
My look on transit in this area is that transit provides access to opportunity. And this Metrolink extension to MidAmerica Airport will provide that opportunity for individuals who perhaps don't own vehicles, cannot get to the airport easily, gives them that option. In addition, this will help drive perhaps some economic development in and around MidAmerica St. Louis Airport. But transit is definitely great for the community.
Thank you, Jon. Thank you.
Kim.
Yep.
Yeah, Jon showed one of the slides on the original alignment, and Taulby was around during that original alignment back in 1999. So, kudos to Chairman Kern for readjusting the alignment, because there was no Reeder Road and there was no Reeder Road extension when that alignment was there. And, with those assets in place now and with the realignment that was done, it did add about 9 months to the design project that we had to make an investment in. But it created an opportunity for all these infill locations for companies to come in to locate here and provide jobs and an economic base, and to help with our taxing structure here as well, so we can continue to provide services in St. Clair County. So really, it was had a lot of foresight when that realignment was done, and it will create a lot of opportunity with this new frontage road, the Reeder Road access, and all this available land ideal for development. And in the last couple of years, you see the new Boeing plant that located on Route 4. So the movement for a lot of the economic investment is to the east of St. Clair County, and this area is just right in the center of it. So
thank you. Thank you. Great takeaways. SJ, Ron, Taulby?
Yeah, I think just to echo what everybody is saying, and really, St. Louis, you have a group of transit professionals on both sides of the river that want to listen to you and that want to develop a system that is responsive to your needs. So tell us what they are. Participate in surveys, go to public meetings, let us know, give us your ideas. Because although we feel like we're in the trenches, we also need your thoughts, because you are also out there, going to work every day, going to class, doing what you do. So give us your bright ideas and let us see, if we can utilize those to build a better system for our region.
Thank you, SJ.
And I'll just chime in here and just say, look, keep public transit top of mind, right? Make it a priority when we're thinking about community development activities. Public transit and how that's incorporated into that should be a part of the conversation. Think about it as more than just transportation. As many have said, it's a powerful tool for shaping thriving, connected communities, right? It drives economic vitality. It expands equity and mobility for many of our customers. And most importantly, it serves as a vital lifeline for our community to jobs, education, healthcare, and other opportunities.
Thank you. Taulby, final comment?
Final comment. So if you aren't on transit, consider getting on transit. But even if you're not, let me just tell you one thing. your neighbors are on transit. The people who bags your groceries, the folks who are working at that hospital, the people who make St. Louis work are on transit today. They deserve your support, and we're trying to support them as best we can. This is about economic vibrancy in our area. I think we're part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, we made an investment in 2010 in some branding and research for public transit. And it's good to see that it is still a viable tagline, transit. Some of us ride it, but all of us need it. So I think that that still rings very true today. So first of all, thank you to all of our panelists. This is not the end of the conversation, obviously, based on what you've heard this morning. This is really the beginning of the conversation for many of these projects and where we go from here in a month, 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, and looking further out down the road. So we really appreciate your transparency this morning, and we will be following up, I know, on each of these projects as we move forward to see where we go next. So thank you again. And thank you to everyone who joined us this morning. This recording will be available on our website later on this afternoon if you'd like to share it with others or there's information you'd like to follow up on. We will also have a recap available on our blog if you would like that as well. As a reminder, we need your help. We need you to tell your stories. For example, the latest news out of Jefferson City, we need your help. Call the governor. Join us for Transit Tuesdays at the state capitol on the Missouri side of the river. Illinois is in a really good spot, but as SJ said, we also need to talk to our federal delegation. Tell your stories, whether you ride transit or not. The impact of transit is great, and so please consider joining us. You can check out CMT's website at cmt-stl.org to find additional information, but please consider helping tell your story about public transit. And look for additional information about upcoming events around public transit. Thank you all for your time today. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.